Do you want some fun and interesting animation movies to watch? If so, I got some nice selection to choose from right here. Let me show you. Hello everyone on YouTube and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about my 10 favorite animation movies that I've seen over the years, and I'm pretty sure there are a lot of people out there who have seen tons of fun, nostalgic animation movies of their own, PG, family-friendly movies as well, and so have I. Now it's the time to share of what I've seen and what I've enjoyed watching to you guys. Now these selections might be old or new, popular, unpopular, random, etc. But these selection of movies that I picked out are all very good for fun and entertainment purposes, and for enjoyment in my personal opinion, of course. So these will be my top 10 movies so far, and I think these movies are very special and unique to me, but maybe also to you as well, who knows. I'll explain my reasons and share my thoughts on them. So without further ado, let's begin. Alright, starting off strong, my first favorite animation movie that I would like to introduce is called Kung Fu Panda. The story of this movie is you have this talking panda named Po, who happens to be very lazy and very clumsy, but in his dreams, he wants to be a legendary Kung Fu legend, and that influence was made through him being a big fan of the Furious Five, who are Kung Fu training warriors, and they all train together to protect the Valley of Peace, and to one day also fight against the Snow Leopard, which is the main villain of this movie, and his name is Tai Lung, in case he breaks out of prison, which he'll eventually do, which is kind of obvious, but I don't think that's a spoiler. At least I hope not. And also, the Furious Five are trained under Master Shifu, who I think is supposed to be a red panda. And the Furious Five animal characters are, we have Viper, Monkey, Mantis, Tigress or the Tiger, and Crane. Now, Po the Panda, the main character, has been selected as the chosen one, the one destined to defeat Tai Lung. But Po being scared, lazy, and clumsy, he now has to step up to the plate and transform himself into a hero and stop Tai Lung and his evil plans. This movie is really funny, it has a lot of charm, and have a lot of unique lessons and elements to it. The theme of this movie, in my opinion, talks about chasing after your dreams, learning to become responsible, fulfilling your duties, and also becoming more adaptable and changing your ways in a different perspective, or trying out different ways of handling things. I really like this movie because you also have a very good voiceover cast of people, and they do such a great job of bringing out the humor in the characters and also emotions. I think the movie is well made, well delivered, and it's also well received. My second favorite movie that I like is called Despicable Me, and I also add the Minions to it because it kind of correlates with it. But for the first movie and so on, the story is about a supervillain named Gru who tries to do evil things, but sometimes doesn't really work out. And so far, his evil plan for this movie is to steal the moon. And he is an inventor. He makes gadgets, weapons, materials he used to plot his evil plans. And he has an army of little yellow minions to help Gru along with his missions. And he has this other helper named Dr. Nefario, an old man who helps Gru build up his invention. Sometimes what Dr. Nefario builds or makes doesn't really work out for the best, but at least his heart is in the right place. But some of his inventions can be useful. It's just a matter of how and when the situation arises for them to use it. Gru and his plans, along with all plans of most villains, is to take over the world. However, Gru has been given this situation where he hires 3 orphan girls. Their names are Margot, Edith, and Agnes. These 3 were given a small mission by Gru to deal with the other villain named Vector. And so Gru have to take care of these 3 kids now, and this is something he is not really prepared for. But as the movie progresses, you get to see some very good, wholesome moments. Gru's personalities and attitudes will change, and you get to see the progression of him working on making some new changes for himself. This is a great fun movie to watch. The comedy is there, and it has a lot of funny scenes, and it's also an enjoyable movie. And you'll also get to see just how Gru deals with his new interesting situation. The third favorite movie I have for you guys is called Elemental. This was definitely a very unique movie to see, as the story is set in a world inhabited by anthropomorphic of various elements in nature. Anthropomorphism is the attribution of human traits, emotions, or intentions to non-human entities. So in this case, you have elements like water, fire, earth, wind that can move and talk. And the story introduces 2 main characters, the fire element Amber and the water element Wade. And these 2 will be falling in love with each other later on. In the beginning, they were kind of fighting with each other, but as you will know, water and fire do not mix normally, but these 2 trying to find a way to be together despite the hardships and the literal barriers that they have to face. This movie is so good because when I was watching it, it reminded me a little bit about people immigrating to different countries. If you are an immigrant parent or child, you might be able to relate to some degree from this movie, and you'll get to see why. I must also say the animation is so beautiful. The movie was beautifully well done, and the story of the movie was also very well written, and I also really appreciated appreciated the world build design that they made. The characters in the movie were very convincing, and it's all about a sweet little love story with a unique twist to it. And so this will definitely be an interesting movie to watch. The story or theme of this movie kind of, to me, is about letting things go, overcoming your fears, moving forward towards your dreams, wanting to do things that make you happy, and making the impossible possible, which are great messages to bring out. The fourth favorite movie that I like to introduce is called The Incredibles. I like this movie because, you know, superheroes, and the way how this movie is talking about a family of superheroes. And I thought that was something that made the movie unique and different, because as most hero films is either solo or have a partner in crime, but this takes an interesting direction of going from superheroes to being a regular family and try to fit in with normal society. And so at the beginning of this movie, you have Mr. Incredible, who have the power of super strength. Later on, marries Elastigirl, who have the power of elasticity. So she's like Luffy from One Piece. They both marry and later on have kids of 3. They are Violet, who has the ability of invisibility and force field. Then you have Dash, the power of super speed. And then the youngest one, the baby, Jack, who has the power of multiple abilities. Now the story continues as society are not liking the superheroes later on. But every superhero are now trying to live a normal life. But Mr. Incredible wants to live back to the glory days when he was very much appreciated as a hero. So you have some fighting with Mrs. Incredibles about letting go of the past and to try and think more about the family, to spend time with it and realizing what's really more important. Does he listen? Not really. And so because of that, he is now in a little bit of a pickle and got into trouble by a new supervillain who you will find out later in the movie. Now it's up to the family to save Mr. Incredible and also try to save the world as well. This movie got some action using their abilities to the fullest to face off and defeat the final boss. And you'll get to see just how much they work together as a family, protect the town, save people, and become heroes again. The fifth favorite movie I have for you guys is called Madagascar. So this one is a very entertaining movie as it contains 4 main talking animal characters who live in a zoo, but then they decide to escape from it in order to see the outside world. And so for the characters, you have Alex the lion, Marty the zebra, which was his idea to escape and leave the zoo for some adventure. You also have Gloria the hippo, and finally Mailman the giraffe, with also the help of the 4 penguins. They were able to escape and be shipped away from New York to Africa, into the wild where there are a lot of ferocious animals, and they are no longer in their nice, comfy zoo home lifestyle anymore. So this movie shows the theme of getting out of your comfort zone, learning to survive, and experiencing a whole new different world. They obviously will have difficulties as they never experienced the wild before, and so we will get to see just how well they do to stay alive. And so the movie is very hilarious with a lot of comedic scenes and funny moments and has really good animation. It's definitely a very exciting and fun movie to watch. The sixth favorite movie that I would like to introduce is called Big Hero 6. And as the name suggests, it is a hero movie, but it's not a movie where you have superpowers. This movie contains the power of technology. And so you have the main character named Hero with his big brother Tadashi, and Tadashi made a robot named Baymax, which its design is to help people. And a lot of the characters that are introduced in this movie are pretty much geniuses. And so Hero's brother introduced him to the other characters of this movie. You have Gogo Tamago and Wasabi, Honey Lemon, and Fred, who are mostly science tech geniuses. They are students that work on inventions, and I don't know about Fred though. There is also someone who is mysterious, a masked villain who is trying to do something he shouldn't do because it's dangerous. And so the 6 characters do their best to try and stop the bad guy with their high-tech invention creations. The movie has a very interesting story to it because it talks about the loss of someone and how to overcome with grief and sadness. Even though those emotions still exist, it's how you move forward with those feelings. It is sort of the plot of the movie, but it has action, good animation, and it's very interesting and exciting movie to watch. The 7th favorite movie of mine and nostalgic for me is called Chickenrun. This is my favorite claymation movie, which at first I didn't know claymation was even a word, but it makes sense because movies like these are made through multiple shots and the use of molded clay, which is very unique, and I think they did a really good job in making this movie. I personally enjoyed the casting of the characters, I love the music, and it got some really good comedy to it. So the movie, or the story of the movie, is about a chicken farm with talking chickens, and their whole life is not that great. They lay eggs and go through the daily routine of being being a chicken in a chicken farm. And they try their best to work together in order to escape and hopefully obtain freedom away from the chicken farm. But it's not going to be so easy for them because the obstacles that they have to face are two of the main owners of the chicken farm, who are Mr. and Mrs. Tweety. We also have one of our main characters, a chicken named Ginger, who does not really give up because she is passionate about escaping and wanting to get out of her situation. But not just herself, all of the chickens want to be free, which they try time and time again using different techniques and methods to escape the chicken farm, and so none of them have been working so far. But then one day, an outside American rooster named Rocky flies into the chicken farm, and all of the chickens, seeing this, they really want Rocky to teach them how to fly in order to get out and leave the chicken farm. And also because the two owners are going to be installing a machine in which the chickens are now in a time crunch, a race against time, where they need to hustle up so that way they won't be the next target from the owners. And they also need to hurry up in order to survive. It's a really fun movie, but it also has some very intense moments. And you also get to see deep emotions brought by the claymation movie art. So yeah, check it out. Now my favorite 8th movie I have for you guys is called Shrek. This one I would say is quite popular in its own right because the comedy is so good and there are plenty of great scenes, great moments. You got some very lovable characters and the story is absolutely very unique. So this is kind of like a fairy tale movie, but I feel like in a comedic parody type of way. Usually you have the Prince Charming saving the princess from a high tower, and you also have true love's first kiss and all that jazz. So let's say we change that role into instead an ogre. So we have the main character, an ogre named Shrek, who lives in his swamp, and he just wants to live a peaceful life, but that peaceful life has been interrupted when a bunch of fairy tale creatures arrive at his place because they were banished by the evil ruler Lord Farquaad. And then when Lord Farquaad and Shrek meet, they strike a deal to have Shrek his swamp back, but only if Shrek goes to a quest to save Princess Fiona from the tower and to rescue her and to bring her to Lord Farquaad to be his wife. However, that is not going to be an easy task, as there are dangerous creatures out there, and there are also some secrets that they will discover towards their journey. The music in this movie is also very good, comedy is solid, and like I said before, this movie is definitely very unique. I would say very different, and very much one of a kind in my personal opinion. And one last thing to mention, Shrek does not go alone in this quest because he is accompanied by his companion named Donkey, who is a talking donkey. So it's just again a fun movie to watch, and you'll have a great time watching it. The 9th favorite movie that I have for you is called Sharktale. This one maybe many people might not know about, but this one also has a very good casting, and I really did enjoy watching this movie. This movie teaches you about, in my opinion, not being too greedy, telling the truth, and being with those who truly matter, and trying to accept people of who they are and how they are. You'll probably understand of what I'm talking about when you watch the movie. And so the story of this movie is, you have this underachiever talking fish named Oscar, which the world that these characters live in is the ocean, and all the sea animals can talk. And so you also have this talking shark named Lenny, who is different from the other sharks because he becomes friends with Oscar. However, in the food chain, naturally, sharks eat fish. And so Oscar gets into a lot of trouble with his overconfidence, and eventually the situation always becomes a mess. Then one certain event, something really big happened to where he has to now deal with the mob boss shark named Don Lena, who is also Lenny's father, has some unfinished business with the main character, Oscar. So the story of this movie is very interesting and great. The animation is good, and the characters' personalities all work really well together. I think this will be a great fun movie for you to enjoy. The 10th and last favorite movie I have for you guys is called Iceage. This movie goes back 20,000 years ago. The story of the movie, I mean, where we have mammoths and saber-toothed tigers. The prehistoric era, basically. And this movie's main themes are, I think, somewhere to belong and having a home, and being in a family, even though the herd is very unique and different. And so the very unique herd consists of Manny the mammoth, Sid the sloth, Diego the saber-toothed tiger, and a squirrel. And so they are all the outsiders from their own herd. Individuals that don't quite fit in with the group. They have their own issues and reasons of doing things their own way, not the usual way. But what really kind of brought them together and become closer was a baby human that got separated from the human tribe. And these kind-hearted animals decides to return the child back to its home. And so their whole journey continues through rough terrains and animals who might attack them. It's sort of kind of like a childcare movie. They take care of the baby a lot, bonds are being formed, and they go through a lot of struggles, but they also discover the wonders of that timeline period. And I will say there are a couple of foreshadowing scenes in the movie, so if you enjoy watching this movie and you continue to watch more of it, you might be able to recall some of the references. same can be said with the rest of the selections. Some of the movies I've said and introduced have more seasons or sequels to it. If you're hungry for more and you're enjoying it, and I hope you all will have fun watching these movies and have a great time. So yeah, that'll be my top 10 favorite animation movies. I approve all of these because each of them have some kind of theme, design, story, or element that I really like. And I just hope you guys, when watching these movies, can appreciate it too. Another thing that I will also add, I will definitely in the future do a part 2 because there is just a lot more fantastic animation movies out there and some of the classics. And I don't think that will be all, and I'm sure more movies are going to be made in the future and they will continue to be made more. But for now, in this video, these 10 movies are some of the best ones I have selected in my personal opinion, of course. I can have a biased opinion as well, but picking the right ones did take some time, so please enjoy. If you like them, great. If you don't like them, well, there are plenty more where that came from. Anyway guys, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to like the video, share the video, subscribe, turn that notification on so you don't miss a video, and comment down below, did you enjoy this video? Did you not enjoy this video? Let me know, and I'll see you guys next time.